So another episode of Rain and 7 Spellblades has come and gone, and before we get started, I definitely will address what happened last week. Of course, most anime have 12 episodes, so last week I was like, oh man, it's 12 episodes, it sucks, we're gonna have to see the ending of the show. But thankfully you guys in the comments were like, no, this is gonna be 15 episodes this season. Now I did look things up and I was like, really? And I was getting conflicting reports. Some websites were saying 12 and some were saying 15. Now, granted, I did start to see more and more talk and say 15, 14 or whatever. But honestly, with the consensus that at least some were saying that and backed by you guys, I definitely trust what you guys are saying more than anything else. So this anime has been really good. I've been enjoying every moment of it and I can't wait for more of it. So yes, with the fact that it's going to be 15 episodes, that's a great thing. Because after watching this episode, I can see why it's 15 episodes, because it's kind of like another arc, if you will, that they're happening here when things look like it's going to be like kind of the end, you know, with the whole tournament thing. And then all of a sudden people get kidnapped. Yeah, I can see where a whole nother, I guess, mini arc, I guess, could come into play. So yes, the next few episodes are really going to address this issue that Oliver and them having to go after Ophelia and her succubus stuff and wanting of male mana, if you get my meaning. So the biggest thing is, it looks like we were correct. Pete is not clung to the walls. He's able to freely move in the cage cell. And it looks like all the guys have been captured, which honestly, I'm surprised that I was able to pick up on that off of just one little scene, but it made sense. Like everyone is on the walls and has the little thing around their neck while Pete doesn't. So we're to prove that he actually doesn't have anything around his leg, his knee or whatever. But the good thing is that he is acting like he's asleep. So then that way Ophelia doesn't do anything to him, which they did address. Oliver and them was like, yeah, he's a reversey, so that could be a problem because yeah, if they're found to not be giving their male mana to this girl, there could be an issue with Pete. But thankfully Pete, they did show a scene here. Pete's safe and sound for now. We'll see how long that lasts though. Now, the problem with this episode was there was a lot of setup. And although I can understand, because thankfully they didn't have to skip over a lot of stuff I mean, they have 15 episodes this season, so they don't necessarily have to skip as far as the whole setup process. As the student council goes down to take it their job to rescue the students that get captured, come to find out that the teachers really don't do anything. They're like, oh, we don't get involved until like at least 8 days later. It's like, what is that policy? It's like, yeah, we want you guys to figure things out on your own as students, which is gotta be the biggest cop-out, because it's like, what's the point to go to this school? And the teachers don't care. They're like, hey, you know what? Hey, whatever. You know, you guys survive, you survive. You know, we still getting our money. It's like the biggest university. Imagine, I mean, in real life, bad enough, you have your teachers who are like, you know, I don't give a care. I'm getting paid either way. So if you pass or fail. But now this school is like, I don't care if you die, whatever. I guess we'll get involved 8 days later. Sure. But we really want you guys to figure it out. It's like, okay. A shocking development that they actually turned to Miligan here, who was honestly kind of like their first enemy, who has now become their ally, and to the point that she's training them. So, you know, she gets Oliver, she gets now she gets Elf Girl, and thankfully she gets, you know, them, because Katie's all like, I want to go. And even I was like, yeah, you're definitely not going. And she didn't. And it was very interesting. The only thing I can really say is Miligan was raising some death flags, some crazy death flags. I mean, if there was ever a character, you know, that ever gave death flags, is definitely this girl. Cause she's all like, yeah, my teaching and my research has hit a brick wall, and you're gonna be my partner, Katie. And then it's like, yeah, if anything happens to me, my hand will give you my research notes and, you know, will be your assistant. And I mean, and then the solemn way she was looking, I'm like, oh my God. I can see where she dies, especially when she's taking on the teacher arc, you know, role to kind of teach them how to deal with these creatures that are coming out. And honestly, her teaching was very good. Like, she straight up was like, yeah, third year can fight these things very easily. Here's how the best way to do it. And she absolutely tricked the thing. It's like, oh, you know, you going very quickly, it's smart, so his think is it, and then just go slow. And then bam, we got it. Of course, next episode, they actually go into the forest, the level 2 of the catacomb, labyrinth, or whatever. And so that's the forest where those creatures captured everyone. So they more than likely going to be a lot of those there. And Oliver's team may even have to rescue the student council team, because the student council team, yes, is ahead of them because they started out before. It would not surprise me because they've been talking a lot. It makes it seem like the succubus girl used to be on a student council, or at least was a friend of theirs, because they kept talking like, oh, this is an ex-friend of ours and all this. So I was like, huh, there might be something interesting that happens in the future. But yes, it would not surprise me if our main heroes, whatever, kind of save the day type deal. And maybe some of the student council has issues, that maybe even Oliver and them become part of the student council in the future. I'm not saying like right after this moment, but I can see it. Now, I do want to give a 2 cents about this guy, this Walker guy. They did briefly talk about him in a previous episode. I think it was like 2 episodes or so ago. This guy is a survivor of the labyrinth. He basically goes deep into the labyrinth, checks things out, was able to give notes and a map about the 3rd level, which is where the girls' lab, the succubus girls' lab is at, and their goal to get there. But he's been reoccurring, and it would not surprise me that here, of course, he's given information to the student council about where to go. But it wouldn't surprise me if he interacts more with Oliver's team. Not necessarily like in this instance, but like, for example, I mean, you manga readers would know more than I would, but I wouldn't be surprised in the future as Oliver and his team, maybe even like next season stuff, go more and more into the labyrinth. They cross paths with this guy because he's basically the one that goes down there at long lengths of time and survives longer than anyone else. It was actually pretty funny in that first episode that introduced him, how they said that he was in the labyrinth for so long, everyone presumed he was dead, and he came back when they were having his funeral. It's like, you know, he just kind of established the fact that he's a survivor of the labyrinth area. And because he's such an expert, I definitely would not be surprised if he, like I said, is a recurring character in the future seasons, if the show, of course, gets more seasons. But I think it's just now is the best time to comment on him, because there are things I will say about different anime that I don't comment on because they might be a small part. But if there is a moment like this that reoccurs and is something that needs to be taken note of, I will go back and talk about something that happens, i.e. this guy. So in my analysis of different videos, if you guys have seen me, you know, something happened and I might have skipped over it and not talked about it, you know, maybe it was of a small note, but of course in the future might be something that's more important. So I will go back and kind of address it. It's not necessarily that I've forgotten it. It's just, there's so much to talk about a lot of times in these analyses for different things that I can't sit here and make this video longer than the actual anime itself. It's possible to, I will say. It's very possible to. But regardless, I'm looking forward to these next few episodes. Thank God there's actually more episodes to this anime because I am actually enjoying it. I will say though, I have been researching and seeing comments of different people that really have not been liking this anime. And I believe more people are wanting the anime to go back to the point that Oliver has to go against the teachers, and they want the show to be all about that. Personally, I'm actually okay that it isn't all about that. That they, which I've addressed before, that they are basically increasing the scope, showing you more of the world building and such, to where, to me, if it was all about Oliver attacking stuff, it'd be like a shonen anime almost, where it's like he's got to fight this teacher and then that teacher and that teacher, and I'm actually okay with that. So having an episode like this that's more kind of slower and trying to flesh out other characters, like they talk a lot more about the student council and other characters like this guy, Mr. Walker, and several others, kind of makes it a better anime overall, in my opinion. So I'm not always like, oh man, that's a slower episode, so you know, that's a lame episode. If it has some important notes, it helps into whole character development, character arcs, and helps you more in understanding the way the world turns. In this world, I should say. But regardless, I think that's enough for this. We will see what happens next week and next coming weeks in this anime. I am enjoying it. I hope you guys are as well. But regardless of that fact, make sure you guys are liking the videos. Make sure you guys are commenting. That really helps out the channel. And of course, subscribe for more, because we'll definitely discuss this one and several others here on the channel. So you guys be safe, take care, and Lord willing, I will see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Make sure to check out the extra content on our Patreon page, and thanks to our current patrons.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon. Phenomenon.